Something big just shook the city of Pittsburgh. A veteran playmaker walks into the Steelers' locker room for the first time. Frustrations inside the building finally hit the microphone. And just as we gear up for Ravens week, an injury update drops that nobody wanted. Stay locked in, because everything you're about to hear matters. Let's jump right in. Adam Thielen stepped onto the practice field in Pittsburgh for the very first time today, officially rocking his brand new number 16. He arrived late last night, barely unpacked, and still showed up today looking ready to grind. And according to teammates, he feels healthier than he's felt in years. One of the leaders in the room even joked that missing time earlier this season in Minnesota might have been a blessing, because now Thielen looks fresh, hungry, and motivated to prove he's still got plenty of juice left. The real question now is, how fast can he absorb this playbook? A week? 2? Maybe less. Whenever he's ready, there's a strong belief he won't just be a depth piece. He could slide right into the number 2 receiver role next to DK Metcalf. Roman Wilson should keep his spot, but Calvin Austin may see his snaps dip once Thielen is fully activated. And yes, Steelers fans have been asking nonstop why the team didn't just elevate MVS instead of bringing in a new face. The truth is simple. MVS brings speed, but the Steelers already have burners. What they needed was someone with veteran savvy, elite route running, and the ability to help immediately in high-pressure moments. That's why Thielen got the call. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, hit subscribe, drop a like, and smack that bell icon. It helps the channel grow, keeps Steelers Nation informed, and makes sure you never miss a single update. Now, back to the action. As we turn the page toward the Ravens matchup, Pittsburgh still has concerns on the injury front. It's not the news fans hoped for going into one of the most physical games of the year, and the coaching staff knows exactly how critical this week is. Speaking of coaching, Mike Tomlin finally addressed the noise. The outside frustration, the inside frustration, the constant debates about his future. And instead of dodging it, he hit it head-on with confidence, clarity, and the type of passion that reminds everyone why he's been the heartbeat of this franchise for nearly 2 decades. Whether you agree with every decision or not, his message today carried weight. And trust me, you're going to want to hear exactly what he said next. Stay with me. Things are about to get even more interesting. When you look closely at the depth chart, it becomes obvious why the Steelers didn't rush to elevate MVS. Sure, he brings a little more height than Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson, but outside of that, the gap just isn't big enough to change the offense. Calvin and Roman create separation underneath, they catch the ball well, and they've already shown they understand the rhythm of this system. And let's be honest, learning this playbook has humbled plenty of talented players. Roman Wilson struggled with it as a rookie. Mike Williams needed weeks to find his footing after landing in Pittsburgh last season. It's entirely possible MVS is dealing with the same adjustment curve. That's exactly why adding a veteran like Adam Thielen brings real intrigue. He's the type of receiver the Steelers have quietly been searching for. Bigger frame, reliable hands, polished routes, and enough experience to read defenses on the fly. They were hunting for that kind of presence at the trade deadline, and Thielen gives them a version of that mold, steady, smart, and sharp in the little details. But make no mistake, this offense isn't simple. Receivers here aren't just memorizing routes, they're memorizing layers of routes. Multiple plays in the huddle, signals, checks, adjustments. It's a mental load that's tripped up more than a few newcomers. That's why watching Thielen enter this environment is going to be fascinating. How fast can a seasoned veteran digest an offense that demands so much? How quickly can he build chemistry? And when he's finally caught up, will he slide straight into a starting role? Meanwhile, Rodgers addressed the media today, offering a calm presence despite not practicing the last 2 weeks. He'll return to work on Thursday and Friday, fully expected to lead the team against the Ravens. What stood out, though, was how openly he talked about taking ownership of an offense that hasn't met expectations lately. He's been running meetings, setting the tone, and trying to bring clarity to a unit that's been searching for answers. It's clear he wants to take control, and it's just as clear that this team needs that spark now more than ever. Stay with me. The next part gets even more interesting. Rodgers hasn't been sitting around waiting for things to magically improve. He's been pushing this offense forward in every way he can. Just last night, instead of celebrating his 42nd birthday somewhere relaxing, he opened his home to the receivers, tight ends, and running backs. They watched film, studied coverages, and worked through the details together. On his birthday, that tells you everything you need to know about the urgency inside that locker room, and the commitment Rodgers still has to elevating the guys around him. Ben Skowronek even showed up with a birthday cake, and the group sang for him before diving back into football. It was more than a meeting, it was a message. This offense is going to get fixed together. And speaking of trying something new, Ben Roethlisberger made an interesting point this week. He said the offense finally started to move late in the Bills game because Rodgers began calling more of his own plays. Big Ben suggested unleashing Rodgers completely, letting him run the offense the way he sees the field, the way he's done for years. Honestly, there might be something to that. With Rodgers dealing with that wrist issue, he's been more comfortable operating from the shotgun and pistol anyway. And when the Steelers have gone spread, the run game has actually looked cleaner. Wider formations forced the defense to stretch out, opening lanes between the tackles for Jaylen Warren and Kenny Gainwell to slice through. It's been one of the few consistent bright spots. So why not lean into it? Let Rodgers read the defense, check into what he wants, manipulate coverages, and get the ball out faster. At least until he's fully comfortable under center again, it makes a lot of sense. But while the offense is searching for answers, the defense just took another hit. The most painful news of the week, DJ Harmon is out again. And the numbers speak for themselves. The run defense collapses without him. In the 3 games he's missed, the Steelers have been shredded on the ground. 182 yards allowed to the Jets, 117 to Seattle, and a brutal 249 to Buffalo last week, a 100-yard rusher in every single one of those games. And now, they're about to face Derrick Henry when they need Harmon the most. This is shaping up to be a gut-check moment for the entire defense. But here's where things really got interesting. Mike Tomlin was asked directly this week about the boos, the frustration, the "Fire Tomlin" chants echoing through the stadium. And instead of brushing it off, he did something nobody expected. He agreed with the fans. Tomlin said something along the lines of, "Look, football is our game, but this is also the entertainment business. And for Steelers fans, winning is entertainment. When we don't win, they aren't entertained. I get it. I respect it. And I share their frustrations." And this is the part that always fascinates me about Coach T. He never hides behind excuses. He never points fingers at the fans. He knows exactly what this city expects, and he understands the reality of the job. You win, or you answer for not winning. Now listen, I've said it before, Tomlin is not perfect. The flaws are there. If this season keeps heading down this rough path, it may genuinely be time for both sides to take a breath, reset, and move in different directions. A fresh start can help everyone. But one thing Tomlin absolutely gets is the business of winning. He knows the scoreboard tells the truth, and right now the truth isn't flattering. But then, we got to the part that didn't sit right with me. He was asked about Pat Freiermuth's usage, and the answer felt like classic coach speak. The kind where you nod your head, but deep down you know it's not lining up with reality. He basically said, "We have a lot of capable guys. Pat is one of them. Last week the ball just didn't bounce his way." But let's be real for a second. No, the Steelers do not have a lot of capable guys on offense. The production shows the opposite. And the snap counts? Even worse. Jonnu Smith has been getting more opportunities than Pat Freiermuth, and yet he's been less efficient, less productive, and even a worse blocker this season. There is zero football logic behind him getting a starter-level workload over a player as talented as Pat. And here's the bigger issue. We've seen this exact movie before. Every year, they bring in one veteran solution who ends up being a non-factor. Allen Robinson in 2023, 0 touchdowns across 17 games. Van Jefferson last year, a full season's workload and only 24 catches from a WR2. That's unacceptable. And now Jonnu Smith, getting manufactured touches, but with production even lower than Robinson and Jefferson. It's a pattern, and not a good one. The Steelers keep chasing these fixes that never actually fix anything. And at some point, something has to change. And here's the wild part. Based on his current usage, Jonnu Smith is projected to finish the season with numbers that honestly qualify as a flat-out disaster. It's reached the point where the only logical move is simple. Sit Jonnu down. Give Pat Freiermuth the workload he's earned. Now, shifting to the offensive line, Mike Tomlin officially confirmed that Andrew Peat will start again at left tackle. Broderick Jones is still recovering from that neck issue, so Peat gets another shot. And you know what? For a backup suddenly thrown into the fire, he held his own last week. Tough situation, solid performance, and now another chance to prove he belongs. But the matchup that I'm really watching this week involves the newest member of the secondary. Asani Samuel Jr., he got a small taste of the action last game when James Pierre went down with a concussion, and even in limited reps, you could tell his movement, his tackling, his confidence, it all looks sharp. This week, though, this is a different beast entirely. Steelers versus Ravens. A game that might end up deciding the AFC North. And Samuel Jr., in what could be his first true start of the season, is likely going to be lined up against Zay Flowers, one of the twitchiest, quickest young receivers in football. Meanwhile, Joey Porter Jr. probably draws DeAndre Hopkins, the bigger and more physical matchup. So Samuel Jr. gets Zay, which is as tough a test as any corner can get in a debut start. But here's the thing. Inside that locker room, guys talk about Asante like he's built for this moment. And I can't wait to see if he proves them right. And there's more movement in the cornerback room. Dante Kent, the rookie out of Central Michigan, finally returned to practice for the first time since August. His 21-day window is open now, and with Darius Slay gone and James Pierre in concussion protocol, don't be shocked if Kent ends up suiting up this week. He hasn't been on the field in a long time, so they may need to ramp him up, but depth is thin, and his opportunity might come faster than expected. Now, onto the update everyone was worried about, TJ Watt. He showed up on the injury report with a toe issue after hobbling off briefly last week. He returned to the game, but you could tell the anchor in that foot wasn't the same afterward. Against Derrick Henry and that Ravens offensive line, every inch of leverage matters. The encouraging part is this: what usually takes a rest day every week anyway. So this may just be a combination of veteran management plus the minor toe injury. At least for now, nothing suggests he'll miss the game. Before wrapping up, we got one of those classic Tomlin lines from this week's press conference. Someone asked him if this team has an identity. And without even hesitating, he said, "Yeah, we're 6-6, and I don't like it. Say what you will, but the honesty matters. Everyone inside that building knows .500 isn't good enough. Acknowledging the problem is step one. Fixing it is the only step that truly counts. And now we wait to see if they can do it. If Tomlin can steady the ship, if this roster can find their stride, and if those final 5 games change the entire narrative of the season."